Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School. One of the things that I generally have with me almost all the time, and you've seen my belt pouch videos before of what I carry in my belt pouch. And I almost always have a blanket pin in there of about 4-inch diameter. And then I carry in my cook pot, I carry a small length of chain, or I carry that in my belt pouch, depending. I kind of switch back and forth on that. But sometimes I have both of those in my belt pouch. And I like to be able to multifunctionally use things. And I want to show you today really quick how to make a tripod and a pot hanger using those two items. And the important thing really here is the tripod with the blanket pin, because the pot chain, even if you didn't have that, you could obviously just hang cordage off of that with a toggle on there for your pot. But having that blanket pin at camp in your belt pouch, if you're not using it for wearing a blanket around camp and you want to make a quick tripod to cook with, just on a quick stop or something like that, instead of using cordage that you have to either try to recycle or take the time to tie that lashing, you can quickly make a tripod using your blanket pin in about 3 minutes. And that includes cutting the poles if you've got some saplings close by. So let's talk through this real quick and I'll show you how I did that. Okay, so real quick, what I've done here, let me kind of straighten this back up for a minute. All I've done is I've cut 3 poles that this blanket pin will fit over the top of, and here's my blanket pin here. All right, I've taken 3 poles, I've cut them, I've turned the blanket pin upside down, put it over the top of the poles, and then I've swung the pin in to one pole. So you've got one pole that's actually going to be on the inside of that pin, or excuse me, 2 poles on the inside of that pin, 1 pole on the outside. So that when you swing that pin in, you're going to have 1 pole sitting in there. That pole is going to be the one that's going to go backwards. So I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit. So that first pole that you've got against that pin is the one that's going to go back. And then the other 2 are just going to adjust out, just like this, and around to get your tripod. That pin gives you another option because it gives you a spot that you can, number one, it creates a bind in there with those poles, which is better than just having a ring in there, because the ring will allow the poles to slip, but that pin creates a bind. Now what I can do is just take my pot chain that I carry around with me all the time, or it could just be a piece of cordage, and I can hook it right to that cross pin inside that tripod, just like that, and it gives me a sturdy connection point for my pot chain that I can then hang my pot over the fire and adjust the height of it by just moving the last hook up and down the chain to get the desired height above the fire that I want for my pot. And that gives me a really quick and dirty way to make a tripod around camp, or if I'm just stopping for a quick lunch. All right guys, well, I'm Dave Canterbury with Self-Reliance Outfitters in the Pathfinder School, and I just wanted to show you that really quick tip or trick today on how to make a tripod with your blanket pin. Again, not every video's got to be 25 minutes long to get the point across, so that was just a quick and dirty tip. I appreciate your views. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends, and I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.